Hello, investors, and welcome to the channel. This is a deep dive on CoreWeave earnings. The earnings were released earlier this evening, and they beat on revenues, but unfortunately, they lowered their full year guidance. Now, what happens a lot of time with these growth stocks is that when they lower guidance, they get punished for it. And if we take a look up here at the overnight trading, we can see it is down $7 overnight. So what that indicates is that these earnings were in fact not received well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a little technical analysis and see if we can get a little price prediction going on to see where in the near term might be a near term bottom that could serve possibly as an entry point into this stock. Okay, I got my lines turned on. We're ready to do this technical analysis. So let me just recap what's happened with this stock since the spring. It IPO'd in the spring and had a really at about $40 and had a really strong run up. It ran all the way up here, finally peaking out at around $187. Then it started its retracement. The selling came in and it was retracing part of this run. I think this run was just too far and too fast. So the stock goes into its retracement and finds some support down here, um, and finally bounces. Now, this support really also coincides with about a 60% retracement, and that is where I'm putting this bottom support line for this large pattern here, and this would be the upper downtrend line. So the thing to note from here is that this stock is as good as it is and as heralded is as an AI infrastructure play. It is in fact in a downtrend from the run up in the springtime, early summer. So after it found the support at the bottom of this, it hopped into this little channel here in an uptrend within this greater downtrend. And it looked possibly like it was going to start a new uptrend onto new highs. It was moving really well in here. The volatility had been reduced a bit and it was moving not too fast, but generally upward. Except that when it got to this upper downtrend line, it did get rejected. You can see it got rejected. We'll zoom in here. It got rejected twice, pierced both times, and then closed back below. After that second one, the stock seemed to have been exhausted, and it quickly fell out and shot down to the 50-day moving average before finding support again and reversing back up. But once again, when it got to this downtrend line, it was rejected, reversed, and pretty quickly fell down to where it looked like it was going to hit this bottom of the trend, except it didn't. It just didn't find any support there, crashed right through and printed this recent low right here. This is the low for the since the previous low over here. This is the lowest, the next low of this, say this last month. Now, what happened today is that we had the big rally in the markets today. The stock did shoot up and it came all the way up and stopped exactly at this line that was here before that was supposed to be the support, but now is the resistance. Now, what happened is that the stock was up really big, but it did not hold up there. It hit this line and came down and actually was up at 110 and it actually only closed at 105. So that was a big difference between the high of the day and where it actually closed. And although it did close on a positive on the day, it was not as much as it had been up midday, which I think was really just showing that some people were nervous about holding going into earnings. So we saw some selling from that high of the day. Now, as I said before, the stock is down about $7 in overnight trading. The overnight trading doesn't always reflect exactly what happens when the markets open tomorrow. But we could just assume that the direction is correct, that the earnings report wasn't received really well, and that the stock is going to fall down. And if it does fall down, this little red line here, if it gets to there, which based on overnight trading, it will. But if it does get there in the morning or tomorrow at some point, then that would be a new low below this recent low right here. And it would confirm that we did break this support line for the short term, which would indicate to me that the stock is heading down to the next support line here, which is this blue line, which is the September 5th, or actually August, late August, early September support, this little double bottom down here. So I would expect that the stock would retrace all the way down there again before finding support and possibly bouncing back up, heading back up towards this area in the 115 area, maybe where it would has to first fight its way through this resistance line here, and then when it gets up here, once again, has to break out of this long-term downtrend. So I would expect 187 or 186 to be the support level where we would look to see a bounce. And I think that would also um, create a decent buying opportunity if you could catch the stock near there, knowing that it either going to bounce there, or if it doesn't bounce there, you would want to have a second look at it. If it did not hold this line, you would want to reconsider any entry into the stock below there. I would have to wait till that happens and then kind of see, because there's not a lot of support below here really to do any kind of analysis on. We're kind of once we get below this line, we're kind of flying blind in there. So this really is the line in the sand, and I really would expect some buying to kick in by the time it got down there, based on what it did in the past. But anyway, that's my take. Look for $87 a share in the short term. I think long term the stock will do just fine. But right now it's got some hurdles to overcome before it gets on the right track again. So good luck out there. Talk to you later.